Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Good morning, everyone. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Hope you're doing well this fine day, January 6th, 2026. I just realized I have the wrong date on the rundown. Oh boy. You ever do that? In the old days, we used to write checks. We used to do that a lot, right? Like it would change. We would know what day it was. We know it was January 6th. And we'd write 2025 on the check. Well, when I throw up the schedule here on the show, it's going to say 2025. It'll be fixed tomorrow. I just made the adjustment. But today it will say 2025, not an extra 2. Oh, man. The life of Ray Flowers. Again, I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for joining me here today. We are with you every day, Monday through Friday, for about an hour from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time here on Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. And we got a big show today. We got a lot of things going on today. So before we get to any of it, let me just throw it up on the screen here because a lot to talk about. All right, let's get to it here. Number one, let's just go in order. Well, we've got to deal with drafters we'll talk about in a second. We got rankings for fantasy football playoffs. We'll talk about that in a second. January show schedule. Some of you wanted to know. We'll talk about that. We'll have a pack break here. We got a box of cards. We'll open a pack here in a couple minutes, baseball cards. We'll talk a little bit about NFL wildcard news. There's a few injury notes, 3 players in particular I wanted to hit on. We'll talk a little bit about some quarterback news in general. And then we'll start reviewing 2025. And this all makes sense here in a second. But bottom line is, Armando will be on with us. We'll review the 2025 season, starting with the running backs. Armando will be doing running backs and tight ends. Tyler Beaker will be doing quarterbacks and wide receivers. Russell Clay will be doing young players. So we'll have a whole system here that will get into place. What the hell? Let's just throw it up on the screen right now. You'll see it there on the screen here. This is what we're doing here. So what we're basically going to do is Armando is going to talk about running backs and wide receivers 2 weeks of running backs, and tight ends. And as you can see there on the screen, multiple weeks of running backs, multiple weeks of tight ends. So we'll go through the 2025 season and review how things played down. We'll have Tyler Beaker on. Tyler Beaker will talk about wide receivers and quarterbacks. So as you can see there on the screen here, that's the schedule here. Boom, 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 boom. We'll also have on Fridays, Russell Clay looking at rookies from 2025. So the bottom line is here for the next month, we're basically to review the 2025 season. When Armando's on with us Tuesdays at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, he'll talk running backs and tight ends. When Tyler's on with us Thursdays at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, he'll talk quarterbacks and wide receivers. And on Fridays, when Russell Clay is with us at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, he will talk to us about rookies, going position by position for the rest of the month. After that, we'll then break down and do team reviews. And that'll be a fun exercise. We'll do it the whole offseason with these guys. We set the entire schedule yesterday behind the scenes. So some of it will be just peer review of 2025. When we hit some of the teams, it'll be right during draft week, right before, right after. So we'll talk draft needs. We'll talk coaching changes. We'll talk player performance. We'll talk free agent signings, all that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of fun that we have coming down the pipe here. Coming up here over the next couple of months, including Armando Marcelo starting things off today, talking the running back position. Before we get to any of that, though, remember, go to FantasyGuru.com, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. If you have any questions about any of the products, send an email to support@FantasyGuru.com. Support@FantasyGuru.com. And again, we got a lot going on behind the scenes. We're working on some baseball stuff. I'm meeting with the tech team this week. Hopefully be able to announce here on the show on Friday a target date. Might be next week. It's going to be soon, hopefully. We'll see if we can make that a reality. We'll talk officially about it here when it comes to fruition. Before we get to any of that, though, remember, Drafters.com has a contest right now. If you have never signed up at Drafters.com, the promo code for you is ELITE. 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 That gets you a 100% match up to $100 for the postseason NFL tournament. You put $50 in, they give you 50. You put 70 in, they give you 70. You put 95 in, they give you 95. All the way up to $100. If you've never used Drafters.com, you never signed up there before, again, that promo code is ELITE. The website that you want to go to, the actual link is on the page there. It's in the description below. Drafters.com/refer/elite. Drafters.com/refer/elite. And if you've played at Drafters, before, you can't use the promo code, but you can still sign up. It's a best ball tournament. Okay, that's it. It's a best ball. You draft your team, and that's it. You don't have to worry about managing it. You don't have to worry about watching it. There's $300,000 in prizes available. That's a lot of money. So get signed up. Drafters.com/refer/elite. Speaking of that, speaking of signing up, guess what we got over at fantasyguru.com? As Jeff Mann says, the train never stops. It doesn't stop. I'm working on my articles behind the scenes right now. And Jeff was working overtime getting the rankings available. Yes, rankings. Multiple rankings. Tyler Beaker also helped out too. We've got 3 rankings available right now over at fantasyguru.com. The first ranking we have is the overall one and done rankings for the entire playoffs. Those leagues where you play one guy a week or you play one guy per position, each week. Or let me try this again. You've played one and done leagues before as I'm describing it horribly. One and done league is you set a lineup each week. Usually it's the standard or the traditional quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, flex, that kind of thing. You set your lineup each week, and once you use the player, you can't use them ever again in the playoffs. So you have to basically work backwards, deciding which teams are going to make the Super Bowl, which players should you save, and work, so wild card weekend this weekend, you'd want to play the guys on teams that you think are going to lose, they're going to perform well. Bottom line is we've got one and done rankings for the entire playoffs posted right now at fantasyguru.com. We've got rankings for this week only for the wild card weekend posted at fantasyguru.com. We also have Tyler Beaker's drafters rankings for that tournament we just talked about posted at fantasyguru.com. So that's 3 separate rankings. Drafters for the best ball, this week only for the wild card week, full one and done for the entire playoffs, all posted over at fantasyguru.com. Remember, click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Get signed up at fantasyguru.com. You can get all of that coverage, everything we're talking about, all those rankings, the articles that we write, the Discord rooms we have for the entirety of the playoffs for football, minus the Super Bowl betting guide. The Super Bowl betting guide is always something separate, but you get everything else. $19.99, we dropped the price again. So $19.99, all of our seasonal DFS and betting coverage for the playoffs for football. Pretty good deal. $19.99 right now over at fantasyguru.com. All right, the show schedule we also talked about, so you got that set. What's up there in green? Oh, it says Topps Chrome Pack Break. Let's get into it, folks. As I talked about on the show yesterday, Topps Chrome. This is the updated series 2025. It's got autographs. There are 6 cards per pack, so they're really small, but I guess that's normal now. 7 cards per pack. This is 42 cards, and we were talking about yesterday. I used to get 500 cards in a box. Home of the rookie debut patch autograph. Let's hope we get one of those. I would love to get a James Wood. Remember James Wood last year? Guy I was really high on. Went out, had a great season. He's on all my teams. Anyway, so let's open this up. Try to do a little ASMR. I don't know if that works or not. It probably does. So anyway, we'll open up a pack of these. I don't know. Let's see. I might do a pack a day this week, which is obviously 4 packs. Maybe we'll just do that. Right? Then make it stretch it out for 2 weeks. Won't do it on Mondays. We got football on Mondays. But here it is. So here's the pack we got. 7 packs, 6 cards. Topps Chrome 2025. I've got my trusty phone here with my collectibles app. Let me pull that up just in case we get a good card here and we wonder what it costs. Collectibles.com. All right, got the app there just in case we need it. So here we go. All right. In the old days, too, I don't know for those people that haven't collected cards for a long time. I love this. Topps cannot guarantee that counterfeit or other unauthorized cards do not exist on the market. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. In the old days, it used to tell you about the inserts on the card. If it didn't tell you about the inserts on the card, it told you about the inserts on the box, like one every 4 packs, one every 20 packs, whatever it might be. They don't do that anymore. I guess you have to go to the website to figure that out. I don't know. But anyway, here we go. As I throw guard. Oh, we got an insert. We got an insert. AJ Blublach. Okay, that doesn't do us any good. No, it doesn't. JP Sears, a solid pitcher, obviously famous more for being on the Athletics than on the Padres. Fly ball pitcher, decent innings eater, but obviously a guy that has issues with home runs. Justin Hagman. Ooh, we got 2 insert cards in this pack. 3 insert cards in this pack. I can see them shining. Ooh, okay, let's get to it. So you can see them shining. Shining, 3 shiny, 3 shiny, 3 shiny. The first one is a Shohei Ohtani Fortune 15. Again, I have no idea. I did not look up any of this prior to the show beginning. I have no idea if these cards are worth any money. My lighting in here is not helping. The light, there it is. That's probably a little bit better. So it's a little refractory like. We'll look at that in a second. We've got a Max Kepler refractor. There, right near my head's the best way to do it. And then an Ahmed Rosario refractor. So I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think we got in a lot of money here. Maybe the Ohtani's worth something. So let's see what we got here. Let's pull up the old. I think it's a good start, right? Let's see. Here we go. Let's open up the collectibles app. Let's take a photo of our scan item. All right. I wonder if this works. Okay, we're taking a picture of Armando Rosario. This is riveting. Preparing. I don't need other photos. Did I not do it properly? Optional. Add more photos. It's preparing. Well, this is taking far too long for that Armando Rosario. Oh my God. I was hoping to see an Ellie card. Well, that would be nice. Is Ellie De La Cruz in the update series? I don't think. Why would he be in the update series? It's mostly guys that have been traded or rookies, right? That's generally, unless inserts, obviously. Ohtani wasn't traded, so you're right. Okay, that's not working. So let's try that one more time with Rosario. Maybe I took the picture wrong. Probably should have done this previously to figure this. Oh, here we go. That's a much better photo. Let's take a picture of that. Submit one photo. Here we go. Let's see how much it's worth. All right. Oh! No, that's not right. That says 2019 Topps Chrome. Is that a 2019 card that they stuck in there? No, it's not. That is not correct. So that's not worth any money. All right. It would help if the app worked right because this is not a 2019, right? All right. Next up, the Max Kepler. Let's look at the Max Kepler Topps Chrome. Here we go. Max Kepler. Submit photo. Let's see what this is worth. If it's gonna tell me it's a 2000, $10. Okay. That's fair. That sounds about right. I don't even know if it's worth that much. Finally, the Shohei Ohtani. If there's any card that's worth something, it's Shohei Ohtani. Let's do this. Shohei Ohtani. Come on, Shohei. Submit the photo. Let's see how much this is worth. Fortune 15. $50 to $100. I don't know if that's right either because it's saying it's 2022. I don't know. Maybe this series doesn't work because it's updated. I don't know. It's fun. I'll have to get a better read. I don't think that was accurate. I don't think that's worth $100. But hey, anyway, it's an insert card, F156. Maybe it's worth $100. Maybe I just made a lot of money and didn't know it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed doing that. We're going to continue to do that here moving forward here. I've got 6 extra packs. We'll see if we can get an autograph or a jersey card or something like that because we know those will be worth something. And again, I have to think the Ohtani's worth something. Fortune 15. Hey, let's do the old internet search real quickly. Fortune 15. Of course, none of these cards are close to graded or anything like that. Of course, it would help if I could type. That's not happening. Okay. Well, I mean, they're ranging anywhere from $12 to $40. I guess it depends if it's graded or not. Hey, $20 card. All right, there we go. That sounds about right. There we go. Let's see. No Bijan in your number one running back in 2026. Angela, I think you're reading the show plan incorrectly. I'm going to ask Armando, who is the number one running back in 2026. We're not talking about every running back. We don't have time to do that. So if there's players that are left out of the discussion today or next time we talk running backs with Armando or any of the guys in any of the positions, just how it is. We're going to talk 7 to 9 guys most of the time. That's kind of what time allows to get a good discussion. So if we're doing a running back position twice, that's less than 20 running backs to discuss as an example with Armando. But again, that is me asking Armando the question of who is the number one running back in 2026, because Bijan is on or not on there has nothing to do, because I don't know. I didn't ask Armando what his answer is, so I have no idea what that's going to be. Ray, I see that drafters and NFBC have playoff tournaments. Any others that you know of? I think the FFPC has something. I know that my fantasy league always has stuff. In fact, we're talking about doing leagues ourselves. We do that every year. You got to listen to the Elite Sports Show on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio with Jeff Mans. That shows Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think they're qualifying people this week, so listen to the show. But we always do some kind of playoff format. My fantasy league is a place we always use. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That's a pretty good spot to look at too, Tony. All right, what's up next here? Some NFL injuries to discuss. Yeah, wow. I love how this says pre-owned. Every time the card is pre-owned. If the pack is open, isn't it by definition pre-owned? I mean, isn't that? I guess theoretically, this card could be like $100 if it's a PSA 10. It's pretty centered. It actually looks pretty good. I've never actually gone through the process. I was thinking about this last night. I have never personally gone through the process of getting cards graded. I looked into it, and it seems like it's incredibly expensive to get started. It's like $100 to get started, right? Or something like that. 'Cause you got to set up an account and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I guess that's it. Maybe that's it. Fire. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's worth more money. Maybe I just can buy a new house. Probably not. Let's move forward. Let's talk some football here. On the football side of things, we've got some injuries to discuss. On the Niners side of things, we talked about this. We've talked about it basically all season long. Just tons of injuries. And there's really been no way around the injuries. When we're discussing 49er talk, they've lost all the players in the off season. They lost all the players in season. It sounds like Trent Williams got a chance to play. We'll talk in a second here about Brock Purdy. But, you look at, they obviously lost Brandon Ayuk for the year. Trent Taylor's out for the year. I'm looking at their list here on defense. They've obviously lost their number one pass rusher in Mr. Bosa. They've lost their number one defender, an all-pro level player in Fred Warner. Fred Warner's replacement. Now, we heard rumors Fred Warner could, in theory, possibly, maybe, sort of, kind of return if they make it a long way in the playoffs. Don't know how accurate that is or if that's really, anything other than a pipe dream, but it's possible. The Niners, because of injuries, had to end up signing Eric Kendricks. Eric Kendricks is, that guy that played for Minnesota for a long time. He had 138 tackles last year for Dallas, but only played a couple of games with the Niners, and, he's well on to his career. He's in his 30s now. But all of a sudden, he gets to be really important. They basically signed him to back up Tatum Bethune, who had stepped in when Fred Warner went down with injury. Well, now we got Bethune dealing with an injury of his own, and it's not good. We got a report from the Niners, who have oftentimes not been always honest about how their health of the players is and all that. But we got a report right now, groin injury, and according to Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, Bethune's season is over. So this is a significant groin injury. It's going to knock him out for a couple of months. Bottom line is the Niners are now without their number one leader on defense, and Warner. They're without the guy that stepped up, Bethune, for him. And it's going to be Eric Kendricks who's going to have to help lead this defense. And he's a veteran. He should be able to step in and do a solid job, but that's a significant loss for the Niners. And I think that everyone that's followed this team this year understands how incredible the record is given all the injuries they've dealt with, but also understands that this team is going to have to win with their offense because their defense just isn't very good. And at some point, you can only lose so many players to free agency or so many players in season 2 injury and still put a solid group out there. I mean, they're facing the Eagles this week, and this is going to be the Niners beating the Eagles would be an upset. I don't care about the record, or it would be an upset at this point, even with the Eagles and the uncertainty and the way they handled things down the stretch. We'll talk about the Eagles here in a second too. But the fact is that the Niners defense is just not very good. And the Eagles have all those weapons on offense, and they're going to be able to attack the Niners and probably put up some pretty good points. Then you have to see the Eagles defense is pretty good. Can the Niners put up 30 points against the Eagles if the Eagles put up 30 against their So the Niners are in a rough spot in that matchup with the Eagles. Again, Bethune is out. Eric Kendricks, will have to be the guy that steps up. Here we go. Brock Purdy should be fine. But just putting it out there, he's expected to play and all that kind of stuff. But on the final play of the game last week against Seattle, he hurt his shoulder and got a stinger. Okay. And a stinger basically is when you get blasted and you get nerves and your shoulder hurts. And okay, very common injury. It's not really an injury. It's an impact scenario, right? You get hit hard. Day later, you're okay. That's the hope. Okay. And we're assuming the Niners are being accurate and honest with us with all this kind of stuff. If they have to make a move in this game, if something happens to Purdy or he's unable to play surprisingly this week, because again, he's expected to. Mac Jones, who had stepped in many times in season, would step in for him this week. So the Niners offense would be in good hands with a veteran quarterback who's played a lot this year and had a lot of success. Purdy is expected to play, but it is something to keep an eye on here as we get practice reports. Remember, it's still Tuesday morning, 9:30, well, not even 9:30 on the West Coast. Okay, Niners, Brock Purdy might be sleeping still. I don't know his schedule. So we'll continue to watch that. But at this point, he's expected to play. For the Eagles on the other side there, Lane Johnson, who probably is going to the Hall of Fame. He's a tremendous offensive lineman. He's got a foot issue. He's expected to practice tomorrow, starting the week for the Eagles. And this is big news. Suffered a Liz Frank injury in mid-November. Uncertain to play in this wild card game. It's uncertain. But the expectation is starting to lean toward Lane Johnson being back. This would be huge for this team. I saw a stat the other day in games that in 13 years that Lane Johnson has missed. The Eagles are like 18-28. Like they don't win. And it's not one guy, but they don't have much success when he's not on the field. He's a huge part of what they're doing. He's a huge part of their offense. So we'll watch that news update closely. His inclusion in the lineup would be great news, obviously, for Hurts, but more directly for Saquon Barkley, who did average his last 4 games 100 yards a game on the ground, not catching passes anymore, as we've discussed here on the show. So that really kind of limits his ceiling because he needs to run for 120 yards because he's just not involved as a pass catcher anymore. But the return of Lane Johnson would be great news for Barkley and for the entire offense of the Eagles if it does come into play. Tony says, thank you. I hope to get a chance to beat you and Jeff in a playoff setting. You won't. No, you probably will. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So hopefully, let me get a sip here. Hopefully everyone that gets signed up, again, listen to the Elite Sports Show today, will enjoy it. And welcome. Not to the show, Tony. I see you all the time. Welcome to the league if you get in. All right, let's talk some quarterbacks here before we talk the running back position with Armando Marçal. Ahmed Rosario. Like, I don't know. I don't even know the difference. I'm thinking of these cards again. Let me see if I can get them to show properly here. So you get a wavy one with Ahmed Rosario, and you get the traditional square one, like a checkerboard with Max Kepler. I don't know. Kind of cool. Backs of these cards are pretty nice too, by the way. Anyway, there's 2 different kinds. I'm not sure which one's better. Maybe they're both the same. All right, let's talk some quarterbacks. Tua Tagovailoa. This was interesting. And yesterday, Tua Tagovailoa, he's open to a fresh start in 2026. He was asked, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And his actual quote was, "That would be dope. I would be good with it." And so the reporters followed up and said, "Well, let me make sure you're answering the question I'm asking. I'm asking you, are you cool if the Dolphins drop you or trade you? Are you okay with that?" And he reiterated, that's what I said. So basically, Tua Tagovailoa is saying, if you guys want to get rid of me, I'm cool with that. And I think that, this is a situation that they have to figure out. Quinn Ewers is not the answer. We talked about this earlier in the week. Tua is a very interesting player because he is, if managed properly with the proper weapons around him, quite an effective quarterback. And we saw that a couple years ago. He led the league in passing yards in 2023, and in 2024 led the league in completion percentage. It's not like he doesn't have talent and he can't lead an NFL football team. The problem is we always worry about his health and the head injuries. He's completely incapable of driving the football into tight windows. He is completely incapable of using his legs to scramble and extend plays and all that kind of stuff. He's a sedentary pocket quarterback with a moderate arm that relies upon the ability to read a defense in anticipation. Okay. Brock Purdy's not got the strongest arm in the world either. So you can have success based upon your system and your scheme and everything around you. But the bottom line is Tua Tagovailoa can't win games by himself. And honestly, you have to have everything around him for him to be anything other than a guy leading a team to 9 victories, right? He's just not a guy that you profile as somebody who's a championship caliber quarterback. Though how many of those are there in the NFL? Bottom line is, it's very possible he is with a new team next year. The problem for them, the problem is that these teams sign players to contracts that are ridiculous because that's the nature of the beast. You have to give. There's all these quarterbacks that make, they become free agents, or they get to the point where they're due contracts and they get $200 million, $225 million, $250 million. And you just got to hope it's the right call. Kyler Murray, they paid him like $250 million. Tua Tagovailoa got paid $214 million. Like, these guys aren't worth that. They're not even close to being worth that. And the NFL, the numbers are fake, right? We all know that. But I'm looking at the base salary for Tua next year. It's $39 million. I'm going through all this. The cap hit, if they get rid of him, is $56 million, which rises to like $90 million in the dead cap. Like they can't release him. I mean, if they do, boy, are they taking a cap hit. So we'll see what they do. The problem is he's got such a huge contract, $39 million as a base. I mean, and then he's got signing bonus prorated. So he's basically making $45 million each of the next 3 years. No one's going to trade for that. So it'll be really interesting to see. He'll have to be one of those cuts based upon the date and the schedule, and they'll just take dead cut. If he's not their starting quarterback, they're not going to keep him around as their backup quarterback. He just makes too much money. They'd be better off just cutting him. But that's a really dicey scenario. When did he sign that contract, by the way? Let's see. He signed that contract extension. I wish it said it. Doesn't say it here, but it was a year ago. Oh boy, yeah, things change quickly for you in the NFL, especially even at the quarterback position. Next up, Daniel Jones. They said this on the broadcast over the weekend in Week 18. Daniel Jones. Everyone kind of gets the sense that Daniel Jones is coming back to the Colts, and not even that. Yeah, that's kind of what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Like the team and their meetings and everything really made it clear that that's the expectation. We got a report. Let me pull that up. Who is the report from? Oh, it was actually from Shane Steichen, who said the team would love to have Daniel Jones back. Daniel Jones obviously performed very, very well this year for the Colts, better than anyone could have ever expected him to. Once he went down with injury, the whole season kind of fell apart for the Colts, and we saw them myriad of quarterbacks. They ran out there, Leonard and Phillip Rivers. Richardson never made it back. Richardson, that's another scenario too here with Richardson. Is he going to get a chance to compete with Jones if they bring him back? Or, Jones, Richardson, Leonard, you don't really need 3 quarterbacks. Do they trade Richardson to someone by the hype? Is there still any hype? But Jones was very good, very effective, led the NFL in success rate, had 19 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Most of his season was defined by strong work. He had that one horrible game. But really, it's a very good year, and they'd be more than happy to welcome him back to lead the offense last year. They'll probably get that done. That would be my expectation and most people's expectation at this point. Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback for the Colts. Joe Flacco, there was some guesstimation that maybe he's going to retire. He got called in for a tush-push scenario, like on a 4th and 1, and people were guessing, is this his final snap? Or might be his final snap with the Bengals, but Joe Flacco says he wants to keep playing. Unlike Phillip Rivers, who has no arm left, Joe Flacco can still wing it, right? We know that. He's a veteran. He can, he help you in a pinch. He did that multiple times for multiple teams this year. So Joe Flacco almost certainly will find a job somewhere if he wants to keep playing, and it sounds like he does. And then finally, Shedeur Sanders, the GM, Andrew Berry, remember they fired their head coach yesterday, said that Shedeur Sanders is still very much a work in progress, like many people. Okay. As we said here on the show yesterday, I'm not expecting Shedeur Sanders to be the starter on week 1 for the Browns. Their GM clearly is not indicating that's the plan. Maybe it ends up happening that way. Maybe he matures or grows in the offseason. Maybe they're not able to make a signing. Maybe they're not able to make a draft pick. Maybe they're forced to start him next year. But it sounds very much like the GM is saying what we're all saying, and Shedeur Sanders. So if you got Shedeur Sanders in a dynasty league, hold him now. I mean, we'll see how this plays out. You never know. He is a talented guy. In a keeper league, I have him in the 17th round rate. Who cares? I don't care. Again, we talked about he needs to do a lot of things and make a lot of changes to his game in order for him to be anything other than quarterback 25 at the NFL level, right? And I don't even know if he can be that long term. So we'll see. A lot of hard work to do with him there, but not a ringing endorsement at all from the old general manager. Before we talk to Armando Marsal and talk some running backs, starting our review of the position with him. Again, we talked about this earlier today. We'll go through position by position with him. Tony says, thanks to the baseball card review, I have a shoebox filled with Topps cards from the late 60s, 70s, and early 80s. I have several Robin Yount rookie cards. Yeah, I've got a lot. I haven't looked through my collection is actually at my parents' house still. It's in my old bedroom in the closet. Binders and boxes, and I don't think I have too many unopened cards, though it wouldn't matter because, as I discussed on the show yesterday, most of my cards, the boxes at least, are from the 80s when they mass produced everything. But I have a pretty fair collection of cards. I don't have too many older cards. That is something I've actually thought about getting involved in. Buying packs and breaking them open and getting, Justin Hageman. I mean, this is really exciting. I thought though about buying some older stuff, not necessarily going back to, the T days with Honus Wagner or anything, but getting cards just from the 50s and such. That'd be kind of cool. 40s, maybe 30s. So, but thanks for sharing that, Tony. And again, for those that missed it, we do have a Topps Chrome updated series box. We'll continue to open up a pack a day here moving forward. We often open up cards with our next guest. Here's Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. Armando joins us every Tuesday. He joins us to talk football. Sometimes he dabbles in a little basketball for us here. He covers basketball over at FantasyGuru.com, but sometimes he mentions a little bit here. We've opened packs of cards. You can go to FantasyGuru.com, click that Elite Plus tab in that toolbar at the top of the page. If you do that, you can find this show on demand. You can also find his show, Mind of Marsal, on demand. If you're wondering what the hell is Ray talking about, how are people asking Ray questions, because I only listen to the show in podcast form over at FantasyGuru.com. Or if you're typing Fantasy Sports Daily into wherever you listen to podcasts, there are 3 other ways to watch the show live or on demand. And obviously, if you're watching live, you can leave comments and questions. Those 3 places are Twitter X at Fantasy Guru site, Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, and YouTube.com/@Elite Plus Network. All right, let's bring him in right now. Let's talk football with Armando Marsal. I hinted at it at the start of the show. This is what we're going to do with Armando. We're going to bring him on for the next month. We're going to review the 2025 season at the running back and tight end positions. Let's start out with the running back spot today. Armando, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Ray. How about yourself?
Doing okay. I feel kind of we talked football. We did injuries. We did the quarterback position. We talked about the rankings over at FantasyGuru.com, the one and done rankings, the drafters rankings, the this week wildcard only rankings. We talked about the deal. You can use the promo code ELITE for drafters.com/refer/elite. Open up the baseball card pack. We had a really action-packed first half hour of the show. So now I'm looking forward to letting you talk for the next half hour. You ready for that?
I'm ready, Ray. I'm ready. Listen, I'm ready to talk today. We're going to be doing a drafters podcast later today as well. Oh. Tyler and I, we're going to do that. So just keep an eye out for that. We're going to, we have the promo code, like you mentioned, Elite. We're going to go over some tactics, some drafting strategies, kind of our approach. I did one right before hopping on. So make sure you're joining in there. I dropped the link in there, guys. So make sure you're joining us in these drafts. They're fun. It's halfway filled already. We're more than halfway filled. So we should get it filled here before Saturday, before kickoff. So should be fun.
And remember, use that promo code ELITE. If you've never signed up with drafters.com, you get that 100% bonus up to $100. It's a $300,000 prize package pool. Like, that's a lot of money for a best ball tournament, just for the playoffs, $300,000. So as Armando said, get signed up. So you're doing your Mind of Marsal podcast with Tyler talking about this. Is that accurate?
Yes, today him and I, like shortly after you and I get off, I'm going to jump on that podcast with him, and we're going to go over his rankings. We're going to go over, kind of the rules and everything, so that everyone, if you're new and you haven't played best ball before and you want to keep the action going, this will give you kind of like a little stepping, stone into getting your feet wet in the action. It's fun. You mentioned $50K for first place, Ray. So, and I believe there's fewer than 20,000 participants. So pretty good payout structure there.
Yeah, and again, it's best ball, so you just draft it, and that's it.
Draft it, forget. It's just 12 rounds.
Yeah.
1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. That's what you got to fill out.
Let's go.
Yes.
Are you doing the live stream tonight for football too, or
I will not be on the live stream tonight. Tonight it'll be Russell Clay.
Instead?
No, I was on basketball last night. I'll be on basketball tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be in Discord. I was in there last night. I usually do hop in Discord anyways and help out and things like that. So I won't be on the content side, but you'll see me in and out of Discord every night pretty much in the NBA.
Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com or click the subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. For the basketball coverage, you want the MVP plan. You see it there on the screen. The MVP plan is basically everything that's not football or baseball. So if you want basketball, you also get hockey. If you want hockey, you also get basketball. You get NHL, NBA, PGA, MMA, horse racing, soccer. All of that is in the MVP plan. So get signed up now over at fantasyguru.com. Remember, look at us just rifling through things. We still have our gift cards, right? So you can buy a gift card, and every gift card you buy, we give you free money. So you buy a $25 gift card, we give you 10 free bucks. You buy a $100 gift card, we give you 25 free bucks. So you can buy a gift card, you get free money there. You can apply that, in essence, a discount to buy the MVP plan if you want to get the basketball coverage. Then if you want to get the basketball coverage, we give you all the other sports too. It's a pretty good time to get involved with us over at fantasyguru.com. All right, Armando, as I noted here, we're going to have you on. We're going to review over the next month here, kind of looking back at 2025. For all those people saying, Ray, Armando, we want you to talk playoffs this week. Get signed up at fantasyguru.com. That's what we're doing over there. It's only $19.99 the rest of the playoffs for the seasonal, DFS, and the betting coverage. So $20. You can get all the playoff coverage you want over at fantasyguru.com. But we thought we'd review 2025, starting with you at the running back spot. Who's your number one running back? Before we review everything, who's your number one running back in 2026? Is it Bijan Robinson and it's easy? Is it Christian McCaffrey? Is it somebody else?
No, I think I'm going to go Bijan Robinson. He was my running back one going into this season. I'm going to continue to view him as such. I like the usage we were getting from him. Yes, Tyler Algier is still a problem. He's still going to get involved. Bijan can handle a larger workload. But like we saw this year, like even with Algier involved, Bijan continues to produce at a very high level. And someone that for the most part gives you a very solidified floor on a week-to-week basis. And the ceiling is enormous. He didn't finish RB1, but he has that RB1 upside and RB1 potential. And when you look at some of the other guys, he's probably the one that presents the least red flags for me. And I like to take very little risk in my first, 2 rounds as much as possible.
We opened the pack of cards earlier, Topps Chrome Baseball pack. Angela says when Armando opens a pack, there might be a poodle or a schnauzer in it. For those people wondering what he's talking about, Armando did open. What was it? What's the name?
It was the Gunther and something. I don't buy that pack anymore. Yeah. I'm buying those Topps. Actually, I was listening to you talk. I didn't want to do it, but I was listening to you talk before. So this is a box right here full of just rookie cards that I have to kind of go through.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So what year from just this year or from all
recent years, not old. Yeah, recent years. But that's all
sports
rookie,
or just baseball.
Primarily baseball and football. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. There are some basketball cards in there as well.
All right. Look at Armando Marcel doing a little bit of everything. All right. Let's review what happened this year. It's really hard to project out for any players because remember, head coaches are going to change, offensive coordinators are going to change, defensive coordinators are going to change, players are going to age. Players are going to get drafted. Players are going to sign as free agents. So it's really tough we'll try to sprinkle a little bit of that in because we're not going to, But Jonathan Taylor is the first guy I want to ask you about. I mentioned earlier, on the show that Daniel Jones is expected to be the quarterback of the Colts. Nothing official, but everyone's kind of expecting a reunion to occur there. Jonathan Taylor had a really impressive season, but it was really front-loaded. He was great when Daniel Jones was under center. He was when it wasn't everybody else. How do you assess what Jonathan Taylor did in 2025? Kind of just what I said, dependent on the quarterback largely?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very dependent on what happens with the quarterback there, right? Like we saw this entire offense struggle once Daniel Jones went down. And once he was injured, so let's not forget, this was played out in multiple parts, right? He got injured, he was playing through an injury, and then he was out for the season. So the offense itself started struggling once he suffered the injury initially. He was able to play through it. They were able to win some games, but it really fell apart once he was completely out here for the season. When you look at Jonathan Taylor, it's been a pretty consistent track record with him, right? Like he's played 15 plus games in just 3 seasons since entering the NFL. He's been in the NFL 6 years. So he's played over 15 or more games just 3 times. In those seasons, he's finished as a top 10 back. When you look at production on a per game basis, he's been a top 12 back on a PPR per game basis in all but 1 season. So we know the production is there. This was the first time he's played 17 games since 2021. Like when you think, and that's a concern with me with Jonathan Taylor, and that's really a concern with some of these running backs here. But for me, so long as he stays healthy, I view him as a top 5 back. Ideally, they figure out the quarterback situation because I wouldn't expect Jones to be back until at least midseason, if that. Like I feel like that's a little bit optimistic right there. So it really depends on the quarterback situation. It's going to depend on some of those factors. But yes, as long as he's healthy, as long as there's a competent quarterback under center for the coach starting the season, I view Jonathan Taylor as a top 5 back. Like he's that kind of player. The offensive line is good. The supporting cast is good. The coaching, the scheme is good. Everything here is good. I don't expect a lot to change on that front, but it's just a matter of who's going to be under center in week 1 for the Colts.
Devon Achane had a huge workload for a guy that's not huge, for a guy that does have concerns about his ability to take hits and all of that. Now, I don't remember too many times he got blown up. Like he's very good at sliding off tackles, and a lot of his work was in the passing game. But tremendous workload with him. and actually a fantastic season. Extreme levels of consistency week after week, giving you 100 scrimmage yards, that kind of thing. Offense was a mess, like a complete mess all season long. So the thought is he was really good this year. If they can figure things out, he can be even better next year. Where are you at with Devon Achane? It was a really good season, really good considering everything that went down.
I mean, top 5 season back to back now, right? You mentioned it. He had 323 opportunities here, over 60, over 80 targets, over 60 receptions for the second straight year there. Someone who's consistently involved in the passing game. My concern with HN each and every year, Ray, has been durability, and he's proved me wrong each and every year. That's going to continue to be my concern with him because of his size. But I will say this, when healthy, he's one of the more consistent and one of the better running backs there is. I really want to see what happens here. There's going to be a lot of moving parts, in my opinion, when it comes to Miami. We could see coaching changes. We could see personnel changes. We could see many changes here. Obviously, something to keep an eye on. But we saw it this year firsthand. Even when the offense is not playing at a high level, he's going to produce high-end numbers and give you that weekly floor. So we're going to have to continue to view him as a top 10, top 12 running back and as an RB1, right? Someone that I'm comfortable taking in that first, second round of every draft. And I think that's what you're going to have to pay in 2026.
Armando Marsala of FantasyGuru.com is with us every Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Again, we're going to be reviewing for the month of January, reviewing the 2025 season with him on all his visits. Next up is a guy who turned 32 this week, which in the grand scheme is young. We're old compared to this guy, right? We're small compared to this guy too. But Derrick Henry, that's old for a running back. Now, you look at the raw numbers. Each year with Baltimore, he's run for 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns. No one's ever done that at his age, ever. We know Derrick Henry. He's a unicorn, all that kind of stuff. Where are we at with him? And again, reviewing this season, I mean, look, 300 touches, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns. Everyone that drafted him got their payoff. Is there going to be another payoff next year?
He's that running back, Ray, that I've been out of the train and I've been missing out on the production. I'm going to be 100% transparent with everyone, and I'm just going to continue because it's only a matter of time. You mentioned it. He's a unicorn. Obviously, he's built differently than most other backs. I mean, he's built like a linebacker and he runs like a running back. Like, that's the truth, and that's what we're getting here. Just been as consistent as he come. 4th straight year with over 1,000 rushing yards. He's done it in 7 of his last 8 years. The only time he didn't do it was that year that he played 8 games. And in that season, he was already at 936 rushing yards. All right. So he was going to have a career year, or was at least on pace to have a potentially career year there. He didn't show any signs of slowing down this season. Obviously, there is the age factor for me, but these are the kind of players that you can't really predict when the wheels completely fall off, because it's going to be a very quick, regression there for him. So, I'm not going to be on him. It really depends on price. I wasn't on him this year too much. I was wrong about him. But he's one of those players that I'm very concerned about the age factor.
Can't draft everyone, right?
No.
No. And I think sometimes people say, oh, it's like, look, you can't like everyone. You can't hate everyone either. You got to make decisions. And I'm agreeing with Armando. Like, I was not targeting Derrick Henry in any draft this year, and he had a great year and good for him. And I'm not chasing it next year either. So that's my thought on that.
For what it's worth, because I pulled up my preseason rankings just to have, like, I didn't like him, but I had him ranked RB8. Like, it's, he was in that range for us, but he's just not one that I was. Jonathan Taylor was in that same range. Kyron Williams in that same range. McCaffrey was in that same range. There was some of these other guys I felt better about. That's all.
One thing with Henry too is he doesn't catch passes.
Correct.
So he's got to run for 120 yards, or that's not a great place to be when you're talking about spending a top 20 pick necessarily. Armando, if I were to tell you, going back, you're looking at your rankings. Where do you have your rankings up right now?
The preseason ones.
Yeah. Where did you have Ashton Jeanty?
I had him RB4.
Okay. He had 1,300 scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns, which in the grand scheme of things, those are huge numbers for a rookie. They're huge. He also caught 55 passes. Now, that's below expectations. As you noted there, he was being drafted in a lot of places as a top 5 running back, everywhere as a top 10 running back. He was going at the end of first round, second round, in basically all drafts. So slightly disappointing season, okay? But still, he didn't kill you. He wasn't one of these guys that bombed out like so many other players have.
Yeah.
How do you review his year? Because, you watch the games, you watch the film, you look at the data. The dude was hit in the backfield over and over and over. And their offensive line is putrid. It was horrendous, historically bad this season. Is it still wheels up for him moving forward if they make some moves and some changes here in Las Vegas?
Look, I was very impressed with what I saw given his situation, right? There's another running back we're going to talk about here with that I feel the same, very same way about. Look, he was constant. You mentioned he was constantly getting hit the line of scrimmage. The game scripts were always awful for the Raiders. Like they couldn't run the football effectively. He got more involved in the passing game later in the season. So we saw that, that dual threat ability that Jeanty brings to the table. I think he's a special running back. I view him as an elite talent in the NFL at the position. And I don't think it could get worse for the Raiders, right? And I don't think it could get worse for Jeanty in this offense. So I think it's that we saw rock bottom here. I think we're going to get him at a discounted price, in my opinion, next year, because we see recency bias every year where everyone was aggressive on the player. We saw it with, guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. this year. We saw it with some of these players, and we're going to see that, I think, with Jeanty. So I'm going to take advantage of the dip, assuming there is one, and I'm expecting one, because I like the usage, right, Ray? I'm chasing the opportunities. 338 opportunities as a rookie. That's a big number for me. I think that's going to be the floor moving forward. That's the kind of running back he is. And I do expect this, team in this situation to get a little bit better. I think that they're going to have to continue to build here. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some years. But like you said, statistically, one of the worst years for an offensive line. And I don't think it could get any worse.
You always say that and it gets worse somehow.
I hope not, Ray. I hope not.
They might as well just not put guys on the field if it gets worse. Armando Marsal, fantasyguru.com, joins us here every Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Josh Jacobs will be 28 next month, which is starting to get to that area. Lots of workload for Josh Jacobs. I know this season has kind of gone because down the end in the playoffs didn't do anything, injured, not performing, all that kind of stuff. He's got like 2,900 yards from scrimmage and 30 touchdowns the last 2 years. 30 touchdowns. Like, he has been really, really effective since he joined the Packers. How do you review what he did in 2025?
He's someone that, so long as he's staying healthy, Ray, he's producing pretty high numbers. We know that in 2023, he kind of had that off season after a big year in 2022, but he's been very consistent here in Green Bay. I think that's here to stay. When you look at the production, look, he finished on the season RB13, but he missed 2 games. When you look at per game, he was RB10 on a per game basis. What I did notice is down the stretch, he did kind of lose that steam. He was playing through injuries. He did finish outside the top 30 at the running back position in PPR scoring in 4 of his last 6 games. But like you said, he was battling injuries, playing through injuries. So it is something noteworthy. I think Josh Jacobs, so long as he's healthy, though, he's going to be a top 10 running back. He's going to get the usage on in this offense. He's they're running back in the red zone. Like they utilize him, and he's their primary back. You're not concerned about a committee. You're not concerned about any of that here in Green Bay with him. But again, he's getting 1 year older. He does kind of deal with injuries. He plays through injuries. This year he wasn't as effective battling through injuries. So it is something that you're going to have to take on, that kind of risk that you're going to have to take on when they're running back like him. But for me, I still view him as a top 12 running back going into 2026.
You hinted earlier about a guy you were looking at the scenario around him and a little concerned about that. Still kind of like the player. Is that guy Breece Hall?
It sure is, Ray. I was actually pretty impressed with some of his performances. Look, I understand it. They were all not great. There was some really bad moments, some lows, but this was one of the worst offenses in football this year, right? I think I had higher expectations by a lot. I had much higher expectations. This derailed really quickly here. I still believe in the talent. For me, it's one of those situations, though, as right now I'm going to be conservative, view him as an RB2 going into next year, kind of see what the situation plays out, see what happens there. Does he stay in New York? Is he going somewhere? What happens here with Breece Hall? Are they going to blow it all up and start all over? What is going to happen here in New York? But if he remains in New York, we obviously have to treat him as an RB2 because probably not going to get much better in 2026. If he goes somewhere else where, it's an ideal situation, he is an RB1 talent. In my opinion, when you look at it just from a talent perspective, the skill set, I think he's a top 5 running back in the NFL. To me, that he possesses those kind of skill sets. It's just a matter of you can only do so much when everything around you is not great.
Yeah, why he wasn't catching 6 passes a week, I don't know.
I have no clue. I have no clue.
Put the ball to him over there and let him break a tackle. I don't. It was bizarre. A rookie that we were high on, that the scenario played out exactly as we kind of expected in Denver. J.K. Dobbins was going to be the lead. He was going to get hurt at some point. Unfortunately, that happened. R.J. Harvey took over. In the end, when a rookie scores 12 touchdowns, that's a hell of a season, right? And he's paid off big time in fantasy. But it was wonky week to week. I mean, 3.7 yards a carry and, 15 carries for 30 yards and Beatty here and McLaughlin there. Again, he scored 12 touchdowns and he paid off what your investment was. What do you think? How do you review his season in 2025?
I think it was a really, really good season. He didn't give you efficiency each and every week, like you mentioned, right? There were several weeks where he was averaging that 3.2, 3.1, 2.7 yards per carry. He got there with touchdowns. That's very unpredictable. Like there's usually regression in that department unless you're James Cook. But I think he played well. I think that, when you look at what he's doing outside of just running the football, when you look at the pass blocking, he's been doing a pretty good job. He's catching passes at the backfield as well. So he's giving you that dual threat. Look, RB13 in PPR points per game from week 11 on, RB14 in PPR scoring through that period. Like, that's good numbers. Those are our high-end RB2, low-end RB1 numbers, right, most weeks. So for me, I'm going to treat them as such going into the next season. I think this is a good stepping stone for the rookie, right? Like, now next year, this is where he could pick up where he left off. And now they go into the playoffs and he could build that confidence in the postseason too. They're going to be leaning on him in the postseason, in my opinion. And I think the big thing here, right, where we've seen Sean Payton when he doesn't trust a running back, we saw with Javonte Williams, where he kind of uses a lot of pieces in the backfield. He used multiple running backs, but he was not hesitant to lean on Harvey. And I think that speaks volumes of how confident they are in this young man. So I think going into next season, he's locked in as that RB1 for Denver, a team that, based on what we saw this year, is going to be competing for a pretty long time here.
Yeah, there's still some rumors that Dobbins could return in the playoffs, kind of like Fred Warner with the Niners. Maybe it happens. We'll see. Armando, let's talk about a final situation. Obviously, lots going on with the Giants. They need a new head coach, high draft pick. They've got their quarterback and, Jackson Dart, all that kind of stuff. Malik Neighbors. Wasn't it interesting, by the way, Malik Neighbors, that story that he said, well, if I'm not ready from week one, I'm not ready for week one. Like, it was kind of, when do players ever say that they're not going to be ready to play? And we're talking 6 months from now. Like, that was kind of weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, I found it very strange. I did find it very strange, very nonchalant. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was having a bad day.
Or something.
Maybe he was having a bad day. Maybe he was tired. He didn't want to talk about it. He got some advice from Jameis Winston. So yeah. Well, maybe just
Yeah. All right. I don't read much into it, but it was weird. I totally agree with you.
I do agree.
Yeah, just odd. Let's talk about the backfield here. In theory, right, Tracy and Skattebo seem like a pretty good combination, right? Skattebo's getting the hard yardage. Tracy's, utilized on third downs. Now we know that Tracy can carry the ball. We know that Skattebo can catch the ball. Skattebo only played 8 games because of injury. Tyrone and Tracy ended up leading the team in rushing and had a really strong finish there in week 18. How do you see those two guys, Tracy and Skattebo? How did it go this year? And kind of what are you thinking if that's the duo they go into next season with?
Yeah, so I think that they will go into the next season with that duo. We saw Skattebo that he was 9th in PPR points per game during his tenure, or on the season really. But that's when he only played a half of the season there. When you look at his time there, we didn't see a ton of high-end production from Tracy. Like, he finished inside the top 24 just once in the first 9 weeks of the season. And then we saw more production. I think that you're going to see Tracy as an RB3, like you mentioned, a change of pace back, someone who, is going to catch passes in the backfield, third down. Perhaps they'll use him in a 2-minute drill. But the problem is with Skattebo, right, is the way he plays the sport. Like, I don't know if he can stay healthy every season, right? Like, I'll tell you this, I'm not confident. Like, he lunges at defenders with his head. So for me, like, I know it's not the injury that he sustained, but the way he plays, that physicality, for me, that is a concern when it comes to his durability. I'm interested to see where the market, like, where everyone's going to price him, right? I want to see his market value where everyone's going to be on him, the consensus there, because that's going to be dependent on whether I invest on him or not. If he's too expensive, if they're chasing the production, like, that top 10 production that he was producing at that level, I'm not going to be chasing that, Ray. If the value drops, then maybe I'll consider it, because I do think he will be very productive when healthy, and he's going to be the running back that they utilize inside the 20-yard line, especially as they get closer to the goal line. I don't think they want Dart, running those short, situations. I think they're going to try to protect them, and that's where Skattebo's going to come in play. So for me, that's how I view it. I think they're going to roll out a committee where Skattebo's going to be that early down back. You're going to see Tracy as that change of pace back from a fantasy. I'm probably going to be more inclined in investing in Tracy Jr., because I do expect his price to, kind of stay at where it was. Not going to be that expensive. No one's going to be chasing. It's not like he had a monster end of the season or anything like that. So I'll probably be more invested in Tracy Jr. than I am in Skattebo, but it's all going to depend on the market price.
Armando Marsala of fantasyguru.com joined us every Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Next week, we'll invite him back. We'll talk some more running backs, reviewing 2025. We'll also talk tight ends with him throughout the month of January. You mentioned, Armando, you're kind of jack of all trades right now, right? You got, like me, I got baseball going, but it's behind the scenes, so no one knows. You got basketball going that's in front of the scenes. You got football that's going in front of the scenes. What's your schedule looking like now that the fantasy football playoffs have begun, or the fantasy playoffs, or the football playoffs, I guess. Geez, right? Football playoffs have started. Well, all of them, all the above. What's your schedule like now? Because again, you do get involved with basketball. Is it every day, every week? It's the same thing. Does it depend upon the schedule? What is it?
Yeah, I'll be doing basketball multiple times a week now. It's going to be Mondays, Wednesdays mostly. Sometimes I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, really depending on the schedule and the guys and what's available or who's not. Also going to be doing every week a DFS breakdown for the NFL playoffs. So make sure you're keeping an eye on that. Be posted every Friday there. We're still going to be rolling a podcast. Chris and I will be covering the DFS slate as well. So that'll be every week. We still got our staff picks this week. I'm going to have a second podcast. We're going to have the Drafters podcast, like I mentioned earlier on the show. And I'm also doing the season recap for, getting all the stats up for the snap shares, the red zone usage, and all of that good stuff. I'll have the defense for its position charts, all of that year-to-date update. So make sure you're keeping that. That's this week, of course. Once we get into the playoffs, there's no more stats being tracked. But, that's what we got going on this week. And nothing really changes, Ray. It's going to be NBA, DFS, and a lot of football content. And then once, the football season's over, even more hands-on in the NBA section.
Yeah, and again, Armando will join us we talked about this, so he committed to me, so I'm saying it publicly.
Yes.
Every Tuesday in the offseason, he'll be here with us again. We got a whole plan that we set up here the other day. We're going to be reviewing all the positions, all the teams, all that kind of stuff here heading into the next football season. So we will continue to talk football during the baseball season with Armando, with Tyler, with Russell, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, all of them joining at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We will also continue to talk baseball during football season next year. We won't give up on baseball like other places do. We'll continue to talk basically football and baseball all year round on this show. Who knows? Maybe we'll even have Armando on to talk basketball. I can't promise that. I watched a video last night on Larry Bird and all the former players talking about how it was like a 10-minute thing on YouTube, how Bird was just the ultimate trash talker. And he's like, I'm going to go stand over there in the corner and they're going to pass me the ball. I'm going to hit the 3 to win the game. Go over there in the corner, stand there, get the ball, shoot a 3, win the game. Like he would tell people the plays and all kind of stuff. So it was really interesting. So my basketball knowledge is more 80s, 90s. Armando's obviously the guy you want to ask if you have any questions about right now. And if you have any questions about anything over at fantasyguru.com, click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. That's to sign up for the products, or just send an email with those questions. Not lineup questions, not DFS, or no questions like that. But questions about the product at fantasyguru.com, email support@fantasyguru.com, support@fantasyguru.com. You're smiling, Armando, because you know that we get those, and every once in a while people will send, hey, I couldn't get an answer, so I'm sending it to, don't send an email like that to support@fantasyguru.com.
No, it's customer support. That's not customer support. We got Discord for that. We're all in there in Discord. We're always answering questions, so I get your questions in there. Tag one of us, right? Like you say, tag one of us. We'll go in there. Might not be right away, but definitely within 24 hours. I think we're all pretty good about that, right?
Yeah.
So you're in there most of the day. I'm in there most of the day. The guys are in there most of the day. So just tag one of us, and we'll definitely help you with any questions you have.
And it's year round too. Like I was answering baseball questions 2 days ago. Like it doesn't. We'll be answering football questions in March, so don't worry about it. So get signed up over at fantasyguru.com. We're there all the time, and as Armando said, there's usually one of us in Discord pretty much most of the day, right? Pretty much one of us is around. But yeah, we'll get 24 hours is the absolute something crazy happened. Like it's usually earlier than that.
Football never sleeps, Ray. Like I'm bugging Jeff in like the next couple of weeks about. I'm already giving like the behind the scenes stuff. Like, all right, what are we doing right after Super Bowl? I know, like it's still period before the draft, but we got our rookie profiles rolling. We got a ton of stuff coming out, Ray. Never sleeps. Football never sleeps.
Yeah, football's stupid. 18 games all year round. Jeez. And don't forget, you can see it on the screen there. You can also see it in the description below. Remember, Armando talked about it. He's going to be talking about it on his podcast today. That drafters.com/refer/elite. That's the link to sign up. Use the promo code ELITE to get $100 matching up to $100. If you've never signed up before, if you have signed up before, just join the contest. $300,000 best ball. As Armando said, $50,000 for the playoff best ball tournament winner. That's a pretty good return. We do have rankings over at fantasyguru.com. They went live today, and Armando will have Tyler on the podcast, and I'll be talking about that today. Click that Elite Plus tab at the top of the page to find Armando's show and this show cataloged. Armando, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it. Great shirt. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me on. Have a great week, everyone.
For Armando, I am Ray. This has been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. You got about an hour to get over to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio to listen to the Elite Sports Show with Jeff Manns. That's Monday through Friday, 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not here tomorrow. Justin Fensterman is, because I'm with Jeff on Wednesdays on the show, so give it a look then. For Armando, I'm Ray. Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. We'll see you at 12 o'clock tomorrow.